How infinity broke the rules of reality. Infinity sounds like freedom, endless space, unlimited possibility. But the moment humans tried to use it, logic began to fracture. What seemed infinite refused to behave like anything else. Infinity is not just a large number. It is a concept that quietly breaks intuition. We imagine it as endless growth, forever continuing. Yet mathematics treats infinity with caution, even suspicion, because infinity does not follow the rules finite things obey. To understand why infinity matters today, we must trace its disruption. Ancient thinkers feared it. Aristotle rejected actual infinity outright. Endlessness felt unstable, dangerous, impossible to control. Civilizations preferred limits, cycles, and boundaries. Infinity threatened order itself. And yet, infinity kept appearing. Time stretched backward without beginning. Space extended beyond visible edges. Divisions continued endlessly between numbers. No matter how small a fraction became, smaller ones remained. This created a paradox. Reality seemed infinite, but reasoning demanded finiteness. How could something exist that could never be completed? How could endlessness fit inside logic? Early mathematics avoided the problem. Infinity was treated as potential, never actual. Processes could continue forever, but never finish. This compromise kept systems stable. For a while, then precision demanded confrontation. Geometry faced infinite points on finite lines. Calculus required infinite steps to describe motion. Astronomy measured distances with no clear end. Infinity stopped being avoidable. The moment infinity entered equations directly, strange things happened. Paradoxes surfaced. Equal infinities behaved unequally. Some infinite sets were larger than others. Logic bent under its own rules. This shattered assumptions. If infinity existed, counting broke. If infinity did not exist, reality became incomplete. Either choice carried contradiction. Infinity refused to stay abstract. The deeper issue was not size, it was structure. Infinity did not scale like numbers. It ignored intuition. It demanded new definitions, new logic, new humility. And this confrontation did more than challenge mathematics. It reshaped philosophy, physics, and our sense of reality. Because once infinity enters a picture, nothing finite remains untouched. The story of infinity is not about endlessness. It is about limits collapsing. And the moment those limits broke, the rules we trusted began to fail. When mathematicians tried to tame infinity, contradictions multiplied. Zeno's paradoxes froze motion itself. To reach a destination, one must always go halfway first, then halfway again, and again. Movement seemed impossible, yet motion clearly existed. Something in reasoning was broken. Infinity had slipped into logic unnoticed. Endless division sabotaged common sense. Centuries later, calculus confronted this directly. Infinite processes produced finite results. Endless sums converged neatly. Motion became calculable again. Infinity was allowed, but only through limits. This workaround was powerful, but fragile. Infinity could be approached, never touched. Handled indirectly, it behaved. Handled directly, it exploded logic. Then came George Cantor. He asked the forbidden question: are all infinities the same size? The answer shattered intuition. Some infinities were countable, others were not. The infinite numbers between 0 and 1 outnumbered all whole numbers combined. Infinity fractured into hierarchies. This discovery broke mathematics emotionally. Colleagues called it madness. Cantor himself struggled deeply. Infinity was no longer vague. It was structured, layered, and unsettling. Logic systems strained to contain it. Set theory revealed contradictions. Russell's paradox showed self-reference collapsing certainty. Foundations cracked under infinite recursion. To fix this, mathematics rebuilt itself. Axioms tightened. Definitions sharpened. Infinity was restricted, fenced, controlled. Formal systems emerged to survive it. Physics felt the shock next. Infinite density appeared inside black holes. Infinite energy emerged in equations. Infinity signaled breakdown, not truth. Nature seemed allergic to actual infinity. Renormalization hid infinities. Quantum theory canceled them carefully. Infinity became a warning light. When it appeared, models had failed. This changed how reality was interpreted. Infinity stopped meaning very large. It meant outside our framework, a sign of incomplete understanding. The conflict was clear. Infinity existed mathematically, but reality resisted it physically. The two could not fully agree. And inside that tension, a deeper question emerged. If infinity breaks logic, what does that say about the limits of reason itself? This is where the conflict becomes unavoidable. Infinity no longer lived at the edges. It invaded the foundations of certainty itself. If logic allowed infinity, contradictions followed. If logic banned infinity, reality became incomplete. Either path undermined trust in reason. The rules could not protect themselves. Mathematicians responded by narrowing truth. Formal systems replaced intuition. Proof became mechanical. Meaning was sacrificed for consistency. Survival required restraint. Yet even strict systems could not escape. Gödel revealed an unsettling result. Any system powerful enough to describe arithmetic contained truths it could never prove. Infinity reappeared indirectly. Limits returned disguised as logic. Physics echoed this discomfort. Space and time bent under gravity. Singularities appeared where equations failed. Infinity marked the boundary of understanding. Beyond it, prediction stopped. Cosmology faced the same dilemma. Did the universe have a beginning? Was time infinite or finite? Each answer produced paradox. Infinity resisted narrative closure. Emotionally, this was destabilizing. Human reason had limits, not because of ignorance, but because of structure. Infinity exposed cracks in thinking itself. Yet something remarkable happened. Instead of abandoning infinity, humans learned to work around it. Approximations replaced absolutes. Models replaced certainty. Understanding became provisional. Infinity taught humility. It forced acceptance of boundaries. Knowledge became layered. Truth became contextual. Progress continued without final answers. This shift changed science profoundly. Questions mattered more than conclusions. Frameworks mattered more than answers. Infinity transformed certainty into exploration. The conflict was never resolved. Infinity remained untouchable, but it became useful precisely because of that. A boundary, not a destination. And as this realization settled, one final insight emerged. Infinity did not break reality. It revealed where reality stops making sense to us. The climax of infinity is not resolution. It is acceptance. Once humanity stopped trying to conquer infinity, progress resumed. Infinity became a signal, not a solution, a marker of conceptual limits. When equations produce infinity, physicists did not celebrate. They rewrote theories. They searched for missing structure. Infinity became a guide pointing toward deeper truth. Mathematics adopted the same stance. Infinity was handled through constraints, through limits, through careful definitions. It existed, but on strict terms. This changed how knowledge evolved. Certainty was no longer absolute. Models were provisional. Understanding became adaptive. Truth shifted from final to functional. Infinity taught a powerful lesson. Not everything that can be imagined can be fully contained by logic. Not everything that exists can be completely known. And this is not failure. It is realism. Boundaries create meaning. Limits shape progress. Infinity gives context to finitude. Modern science thrives on this humility. Theories remain open. Revisions are expected. Questions outlast answers. Exploration replaces closure. Infinity no longer threatens reason. It defines its horizon. A reminder where tools end and curiosity begins. When we accept this, fear dissolves, wonder returns. Infinity becomes inspiration, not contradiction. What infinity broke was the illusion of total control. What it gave us was a deeper, more honest understanding of knowing itself. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future. How